Dexter has high-functioning autism. Almost every trait Dexter shows lines up with what we know about autism spectrum disorder. He studies normal human behavior like it's a foreign language. He copies emotional reactions because he knows they're expected, not because he feels them naturally. That's textbook masking. His job as a forensic blood spatter analyst plays directly into his obsessive focus and pattern-driven mind. His kill ritual is just as structured. Research target, confirm guilt, prepare the room, sedate, restrain, confront, kill, dispose. Every single time. No deviation, and the code of Harry functions less like a moral compass and more like an external rule system he uses to navigate situations other people handle instinctively. Dexter can't just feel his way through life, he needs instructions. His sensory relationship with blood also fits the theory because blood is the image tied to his earliest memory, his career, his murders, and his trophies, and his entire adult life is built around organizing and controlling that one fixation. Lundy knew Dexter was the Bay Harbor Butcher. Frank Lundy was one of the most respected serial killer hunters the FBI had, and his profile pointed directly at someone inside law enforcement. That's Dexter's front door. Dexter is literally sitting in the same building as the investigation, processing evidence on his own murders, and then Dokes conveniently becomes the perfect suspect right after Dexter plants a trophy box full of blood slides. Lundy officially accepts it, the case gets closed, and Dexter walks free. But the theory is that Lundy accepted the answer because he had a dead suspect and planted evidence, not because he actually believed it. Lundy also had Deborah, someone deeply connected to Dexter, right beside him during the investigation, giving him more opportunity to observe Dexter's behavior up close than almost anyone else on the case. By the way, if you guys like movie content like this, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, Harry trained Dexter to become a sociopath. Harry didn't find out Dexter was dangerous and try to fix him. He found out Dexter was dangerous and built a system around it. The Code of Harry was a training manual for a serial killer: who to target, how to confirm guilt, how to clean up, and above everything else, how not to get caught. Harry also brought in Dr. Evelyn Vogel, who told him Dexter's urges couldn't be stopped, only redirected. So instead of trying to give Dexter a path toward emotional health, Harry reinforced the idea that killing was permanent and unavoidable. He approved Dexter's first human kill. He used his police knowledge to teach Dexter how investigations work so Dexter could stay ahead of them. And when Harry finally witnessed what he'd built, he died by suicide. That tells you everything about what Harry knew he'd created. Dexter is a vigilante superhero. The structure is all there. Traumatic origin, secret identity, civilian cover job, strict personal code, and a city full of criminals the justice system keeps failing. His origin is practically a comic book. His mother is murdered. He's adopted by a police officer. That officer trains him. His day job gives him access to crime scenes and forensic evidence that lets him identify killers nobody else can catch. His rogues gallery includes the ice truck killer, Trinity, Miguel Prado, Jordan Chase, and Oliver Saxon. Each one tests a different part of his code and identity, and the Bay Harbor Butcher even becomes an urban legend, a feared name. That's not a serial killer story, that's a dark superhero story. Dexter became a lumberjack with the intention of killing again. The original finale doesn't show Dexter choosing peace, it shows him choosing privacy. He kills Saxon in police custody, removes Deborah's body, drives into a hurricane, fakes his death, and resurfaces in the Pacific Northwest with a beard and a new name. No department watching him, no family creating complications. And Dexter New Blood confirms exactly what that reset was for. Showtime's official setup says he's been living as Jim Lindsay with his dark passenger successfully suppressed. Suppressed, not gone. The moment Matt Caldwell crosses his path, the ritual comes back instantly. Same preparation, same precision, same disposal. The lumberjack life was a waiting room. Harry thought Dexter was his biological son. Laura Moser was his confidential informant and his affair. Both Brian and Dexter were her sons. Both were found in that container. But Harry only took Dexter. He left Brian behind while he brought Dexter into the Morgan family, gave him the Morgan name, and spent the rest of his life shaping who Dexter became. Harry buried Dexter's connection to Laura, hid the truth about the shipping container, and replaced the Moser identity with Morgan. If Harry believed Dexter could be his son, that's not just guilt driving his behavior, it's a father managing the consequences of his own hidden life. Trinity's third victim in his cycle was himself. Arthur Mitchell's murders aren't random, every kill is autobiographical. The bathtub victim represents his sister Vera, the falling woman represents his mother, the bludgeoned man represents his abusive father, And the buried boy, the hidden fourth stage, represents Arthur himself at age 10. The buried boys are always 10 years old, the exact age Arthur was when his sister died and his world collapsed. He's sealing a version of himself inside concrete every single time. He also burns himself in a scalding shower after certain kills, as if completing the emotional circuit of the original trauma. The child comes first. Arthur buries himself before he kills anyone else. The phone call Angel received during the finale was actually Dexter. When Dexter fakes his death, the world needs to believe it. Angel Batista gets the news that Dexter is believed to have died in the hurricane. Hannah later reads the same story in Argentina. The record closes, and Dexter is alive in the Pacific Northwest. The theory is that Dexter made that call himself. He's a forensic expert who spent years manipulating crime scenes and official reports from inside the department. He knows exactly how Miami Metro processes information. A single anonymous call, framing the disappearance as a storm death, would be entirely within his capability. The final piece of the disappearance only works if someone delivers a believable explanation before anyone starts asking harder questions. Dexter is the embodiment of death. The title sequence shows him cooking breakfast, lacing shoes, slicing meat, and the camera makes it look like stabbing, bleeding, and restraint. Death is in every ordinary morning action. His career is studying death. His secret life is creating it. His trophies preserve it. His childhood begins inside it. Every person who gets close to him ends up touched by it. Rita is murdered because of his pursuit of Trinity. Deborah's life unravels from the moment she learns the truth. LaGuerta dies because she got too close. Death radiates outward from Dexter in every direction, and the people closest to him almost always end up inside that radius eventually. Peter Quinn from Homeland is Joey Quinn's brother. Joey Quinn is a Miami Metro homicide detective, previously narcotics, appearing in 72 episodes of Dexter. Peter Quinn is a CIA operative and assassin from Homeland, described as a guy who kills bad guys. Both are named Quinn. Both operate inside violent government institutions. Both are morally complicated and defined by the psychological cost of their work. The theory frames them as brothers who went different directions with the same instincts. Joey stayed local, street level, and impulsive. Peter went federal, colder, and classified. Both shows aired on Showtime during overlapping years. Neither character has a heavily explored family backstory on screen, which leaves exactly the kind of space this theory needs to breathe. One brother became a cop, the other disappeared into intelligence work. Dexter is a modern-day vampire slayer. Strip away the Miami setting and the basic structure is exactly that. A hunter who understands monsters because he is one. He works by night. He uses a code to separate himself from the things he hunts. His victims hide behind normal-looking lives, charming and dangerous only to the people they choose. Dexter spots them because he operates the same way. His bloodslide trophies function like a reversed mythology. Instead of drinking blood, he collects and preserves it. The Bay Harbor Butcher legend is the closest thing to a supernatural reputation the show gives him. Something out there is picking off killers and making them disappear. Michael C. Hall's character from Game Night is actually Dexter in disguise. In Game Night, Hall plays a character credited only as the Bulgarian. International crime boss, no backstory, no confirmed identity, just a calm, precise, deeply dangerous man who throws a knife into someone's arm with clinical accuracy. The original series ends with Dexter alive, isolated, and operating under a fake name. The theory is that somewhere in between, Dexter built a new identity from scratch. The Bulgarian has no public history, no exposed family, no emotional attachments. The threat of cutting someone open is delivered with complete detachment. Game Night came out in 2018, 5 years after Dexter ended, and Hall's performance gave the theory everything it needed to stick. 6 Feet Under is a sequel to Dexter. Michael C. Hall played David Fisher on 6 Feet Under before he ever played Dexter Morgan. Dexter ends with him faking his death and starting over. The theory says he eventually became a funeral director, and it fits. David Fisher handles bodies professionally. He's emotionally repressed, conflict avoidant, and defined by the strange intimacy of caring for the dead. Instead of plastic-wrapped kill rooms, it's embalming tables. Instead of blood slides, it's death certificates. Both characters are performed by Hall with the same restrained, quietly tormented energy. Dexter couldn't stop being near death. He just found a way to make it respectable. Dexter Morgan is a lost member of the Assassin's Order from Assassin's Creed. His kill process is a mission structure: investigate, confirm, stalk, isolate, execute, disappear. His use of blades and close-range methods mirrors the Hidden Blade philosophy. His bloodslide archive functions like a kill record. His social disguise as a mild-mannered forensic analyst is textbook social stealth. His training under Harry mirrors an initiation. Harry recognized Dexter's instincts, redirected them, gave him rules, and sent him into the world as a controlled operative. The Bay Harbor Butcher campaign, quietly eliminating killers the justice system failed to stop, is exactly the kind of shadow war the Hidden Ones were built to fight. Dexter isn't officially in the Assassin's Creed universe, but if you mapped his life onto the lore, almost nothing would be out of place. Brian Moser was the only person who truly understood Dexter. Brian shared the exact origin. He was in that container. He saw Laura Moser die. He sat in the blood too. He knew exactly what Dexter was before Dexter fully understood it himself. The ice truck killer's messages weren't for Miami Metro, they were for Dexter. Bloodless bodies staged to intrigue his forensic mind. Childhood-coded clues designed to bypass the adult mask Harry built. Every other person in Dexter's life loved a version of him. Harry loved the version he could control. Deborah loved the version she thought she knew. Rita loved the version he performed. Brian loved the actual thing underneath all of it, and that's what makes him different from everyone else in the entire series. Dexter's dark passenger is really trauma. The Dexter Wiki calls it the burden Dexter carries as a result of his childhood trauma. That's right there in the text. At 3 years old, he watches his mother get murdered. He sits in her blood for 2 days. Harry never tries to give Dexter tools for processing grief or dissociation. He builds a killing code around the wound and tells Dexter it'll never close. Dexter calls the urge a separate entity so he doesn't have to own it as himself. His kill ritual mirrors repetition compulsion. He recreates controlled scenes of restraint and blood, but this time, he holds the knife. The helpless child in the container becomes the one with the power. Harry's code was designed to control Dexter. The clearest sign isn't what the code prevents. It prevents Dexter from killing randomly, publicly, or in ways that could expose him. The moral framing about targeting only murderers is real, but it sits right next to an equally important operational rule. Don't get caught. That's management. The code was created with Dr. Evelyn Vogel, a psychiatrist who specialized in psychopathic children. It was a clinical intervention dressed up as fatherly guidance. Harry shapes everything from childhood, which means Dexter's entire identity forms around Harry's interpretation of what he is, not what he could have become, what Harry decided he was. Rita's death was Dexter's real origin story. The season 4 finale deliberately recreates Dexter's childhood trauma with one unbearable difference. This time, Dexter caused it. He finds Rita dead in the bathtub. Baby Harrison is sitting on the floor in her blood. It's the exact image of Dexter's own beginning. A small child, a murdered mother, blood everywhere. But now Dexter is reason it happened. Executive producer Sarah Colleton described Rita's death as the moment the writers felt Dexter needed to be confronted with who he really is. Before Rita dies, Dexter's origin is something that happened to him. After Rita dies, it's something he generates around the people he loves. Harrison becomes the second child born in blood, and Dexter becomes the dark event at the center of both moments. Harrison inherited Dexter's trauma more than his darkness. Harrison is found in Rita's blood as an infant, directly mirroring how Dexter was found in Laura Moser's blood as a child. But what follows is different. Dexter gets Harry, who immediately frames his darkness as permanent and builds a killing code around it. Harrison gets abandonment. His violent behavior in New Blood is emotional. He's angry, isolated, and processing a family history he only partially knows. The Hollywood Reporter noted that Harrison likely knew details about Rita's death before New Blood's events even begin, which means he's been carrying a specific known trauma rather than just a vague inherited instinct, and at the end, Harrison doesn't embrace the code. He ends the cycle. LaGuerta would have exposed Dexter. By the season 7 finale, she wasn't guessing. She told Angel Batista directly that she had proof Dexter was the Bay Harbor Butcher. She had warrants to track GPS signals on both Dexter and Deborah's phones. She'd had a blood slide from the Travis Marshall church scene processed at an outside lab to keep it away from Miami Metro. That blood slide connected a fresh crime scene to the Bay Harbor Butcher's signature years after Dokes was officially closed. She had motive, physical evidence, active warrants, a partial second witness in Batista, and the correct conclusion. LaGuerta didn't lose the case. She was stopped. Dexter's narration is unreliable. He tells the audience he's empty, detached, and incapable of normal feeling. And then the show spends 8 seasons proving that's not entirely true. He grieves, he protects, he panics. He makes decisions driven by emotion even while narrating himself as a creature of pure logic. His internal Harry conversations make the case even stronger. Posthumous Harry is a mental projection Dexter constructs and then argues with, meaning Dexter is staging internal debates using an imagined version of his dead father to validate decisions he's already made. Dexter doesn't just lie to other characters, he edits reality for the audience too. The ice truck killer was trying to wake Dexter up. Brian Moser's Season 1 campaign is a message addressed to one specific person. The bloodless presentation is the starting point. Brian removes every trace of blood and arranges the bodies cleanly, introducing himself without the one element that locked Dexter's memory away. Then the hotel room changes everything. A room flooded with blood forces Dexter into a panic attack that pulls repressed childhood memories to the surface. The Barbie doll uses childhood imagery to reach past Dexter's adult mask, and the finale brings it home. Brian takes Dexter back to their childhood house and asks him to kill Deborah as proof that he's chosen their shared origin over the Morgan family identity. Brian's entire plan is an excavation. He's digging toward the Moser child buried under the Miami Metro analyst, and everything he does in Season 1 is a calculated step toward that moment. Dexter's family life with Rita was never fake. It starts as cover. Rita is emotionally damaged from her marriage to Paul Bennett, which makes her feel safe to Dexter because she won't push for real intimacy. And then it stops being convenient. He becomes genuinely protective of Astor and Cody. He rescues them from Lila's burning apartment, not for optics, but because they matter. He marries Rita. He has a son with her. The relationship becomes more complicated with every season because it's real, and real things are harder to manage than performances. If Rita were only cover, her death would be a logistical problem. Instead, it's one of the most devastating consequences of his entire double life. The family was real. It just couldn't survive what he was. Harrison killing Dexter fulfilled Harry's code. By the time New Blood reaches its finale, Dexter fits the exact profile the code was designed to eliminate. He's a proven killer who's escaped accountability, and in the Iron Lake jail, he kills Logan, Harrison's wrestling coach, and a decent local officer just to escape. Paramount Plus's own description of that scene says Dexter breaks the code and kills Harrison's wrestling coach Logan. The code's most basic rule is that only confirmed killers should be targets, and Dexter violates it completely. Harrison sees it. From that point forward, Dexter fits the criteria: guilty, proven, dangerous to innocent people. Dexter even seems to understand it. When Harrison confronts him, Dexter doesn't fight back. He tells Harrison this is the only way out and shows him where to aim. The man who spent his entire life applying lethal judgment to other killers finally accepts that the judgment applies to him too. If you enjoyed this, I post movie content a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.